talking to a foreigner in the Philippines. Well, we thought we'd have a little conversation about how things are worked at a local level in what we call is a barangay. Explain what a barangay is.
Barangay is there's a barangay, there's a town, and then there's some municipalities, and then the city, right?
Yeah.
And in the barangay, there's a barangay captain who is the head of the barangay.
So how big would a barangay be?
I don't know, but it depends on there's specific there's a specific, what do you call that? Area. Yeah, area.
Areas. Okay.
So I'm not into it. Yeah, but if you in the barangay, there's a barangay captain to resolve if there's some dispute or whatever needed, and he's the one or she's the one who do the peace and order in that community.
So they're there to, I guess, to resolve issues so that they don't become a big problem for everybody.
Yeah, and also doing some kind of projects to make the progress in a certain communities. So that's the work of the barangay officials.
All right. Well, let's just try to put some light on what would happen if somebody had a complaint against someone else in the community. Say, I don't know, say one person is saying or doing something which the first person thinks is harmful to them in some way. What would be the first step?
Yeah, I think you go to the barangay captain, to the barangay captain, and then file a complaint there, and then the barangay captain or some barangay officials will write a summon to that parties who are being involved on that.
So a summon?
Yeah,
a summons would go out?
Yeah.
So what form would that take?
The summon, that summon that just say an invitation to the other parties to go to that barangay hall, and then both parties, the one who complained and the one who's been accused.
Okay.
So go there, and then the barangay captain will be the and other officials in the barangay will do the to resolve.
So is this like a kind of a mini court?
Yeah, it's like a mini court.
And do they have any power?
Yes, because they're part of the government. They are body of the government.
Okay. So let's assume that one person makes a complaint against another, and that complaint is then registered.
Yeah.
So a summons would then be taken out. So A would make the complaint, and B would receive a summons to appear.
Yeah, to appear.
And they would have a certain amount of notice.
Yeah. For example, there's a schedule. For example, the barangay official give a summons to that person, then it says on Friday, on Saturday, you need to go to the barangay hall. So because this person is complaining that you're doing something like that, so that persons will go there, and if that persons will not go there or not shown there, so the barangay officials or the barangay captain will give another summons that this is your last chance. And if that persons will not appear in the barangay, then the complaint will go to the higher, which is the mayor.
So there's two summonses will be sent out, and if
I
neither
think 2 or
summons,
3, like
all right,
that.
let's say
Not
that
sure.
it's 3. So if on 3 summonses the defendant, let's call him the defendant, does not appear, then what? How does it go to the next stage?
Because I think that's the process. So the barangay officials, the barangay captain will put to the higher to the mayor's office that this person's there's a complaint which was not been resolved in the barangay because that person's not been shown. So the mayor will be the one to reconcile and get the summon to that person. And if it's still not, then I think the police will have the power to arrest that man.
So if the mayor, let's get it right, if the mayor deems that the complaint is based on something illegal that's happening, that it's actually an offense against the law, then that person would be talking to the police.
Yeah, because it seems that he was not respected the law of the law,
So
the Philippine law.
Are you actually sure on this?
That's what I heard from Pastor Timio.
From Pastor Timio.
When the brother of Nisa, right?
Yes.
who's not appearing. That's what I
I
hear the
see.
process.
Right. So in the case of Nisa's brother, what had happened there was that he had kicked in the side of the new house, and he had caused some damage and had threatened both Nisa and the brother and Nisa's mother too. So therefore he was summoned. He didn't appear the first time,
Yeah,
did
the
he?
first time and the second time. Then
So
the
then the
barangay,
third time,
the barangay officials advised, or the barangay police, advised him to go there. If not, then it could go to there could be possible that the police will arrested you right away.
I see. Okay.
so-
So could what kind of offences or complaints would this court, let's call it a court, this people's court, what kind of offences or complaints would they deal with?
Anything,
Anything at all?
anything, because you're part of the community, and once, I think everyone has a right, so sometimes there's a time to keep silent, but then sometimes it bores out.
For instance,
so-
if you think that somebody is libeling you,
Yeah.
if you think that without cause, without evidence, they are accusing you of doing things against the law,
Yeah.
this would be the kind of thing that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
barangay captain would deal with.
Yeah,
So a libel.
yeah.
So in other words, are you saying it's against the law to libel people?
It's
to-
what do you call that? It's like destroying your morality, right?
Well, you're standing in the community,
Yeah, like
perhaps
that.
more. In other words, maybe your good reputation.
Yeah, good reputations, and sometimes bullying is not the right thing to do to other person,
I
right?
see.
So
So that's an interesting look at ordinary life in the Philippines, in that as opposed to the US, where there would be a huge lawsuit, money would be made by everybody, this is a simple people's court which you can go to and have complaints redressed. So maybe that's something that everybody should know about.
yeah,
For instance, we did go straight to the police that time, didn't we?
yeah, and
But that was with threats of assault, wasn't it?
and then the police just laugh on it and says, "Oh, we know this man."
So that the complaint, but that was in the case of when we'd received a threat of violence against us.
Yeah.
An anonymous, that was the one that there was the anonymous threat of violence, where he
Yeah.
informed us that we would soon find out, we would only be warned once, and that we would find out how dangerous things could be. But then, as I remember rightly, he sent this anonymous threat on his Facebook page, which had his photograph and his name on it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that actually took on
Yeah, and
a
I
little
think-
bit of a Monty Python.
Yeah, and I think I think there's also some, what do you call that? Some evidence that that's what happened.
was the burning of talking about burning our Volkswagen and sending somebody up here to beat me up.
Yeah.
And we put that's actually on the that went straight onto the police blotter. Now, can you explain to us what the blotter is?
Yeah, it's just like a record, that
It's a record.
Yeah, a record, just in case something is happened. There is the one. This is the subject of what do you call that? The subject of interest, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like that.
So in other words, you can go up to someone and say, "I'm going to punch you in the face," but that's not an assault. However, you can go to the police and say, "This man has threatened to punch me in the face," and they will write it down that Mr. Joe Blow threatened to punch this man in the face on such and such a date, and it is noticed that that threat was made. Now, in the eventuality that perhaps someone is then punched in the face, the intent had already been declared, so it's a preconceived act of violence and is quite different for something that is spontaneous. So that's really it. really
Yeah.
covers the process, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a process.
So there are things, in other words, in the Philippines, in what may appear to some in the Western world to be quite a lawless place, there are things that you can actually, where you can take action against things which are being done which are wrong and untrue. So, I guess we all have to be warned of our actions, don't we? This is a foreigner in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Thanks for looking
please
in.
like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes,
Spread love.
do comment.
Yeah, thank you to all the incredible messages that we received. You know, we're very overwhelming to our silent subscribers. Thank you.
Overwhelmed.
We overwhelmed for the support to our silent subscribers, to our avid supporters. Thank you very much because you give us the energized battery to be strong and continue in what we're doing. You know, thank you so much and God bless.
Thanks for looking in.